Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we have to learn how to fill in the blanks, how to use this as a source data and fill in the blanks. So guys, how do we solve this problem? This is small data set and we have to find out total expenditure incurred on the following pets. And again, we have to find out total expenditure segregated by category. This is not a complex problem. We can solve it with multiple ways. Let's see how do we solve this problem with simple formula. As you can see, we have formula called Sumif and we have another formula called Sumifs. So these two formula can use it. So this is for singular or this is for either singular or plural both. Now the challenge is that how do we solve this problem? So let's see, we can use Sumifs. As I mentioned, Sumifs can be used either one criteria or more than one. This is sum range. You can select this sum range. Make sure you press F4, comma. What is my criteria range 1? Criteria range 1 this, you can select this, press F4, comma, respective criteria you have to select. So what is respective criteria? You can select this and see that my answer is coming now. This is how it works, guys. Everything looks fine as of now. Now, how do we segregate category-wise the data? That's so simple. And you can use, again, some ifs. Here, again, it's asking for some range. We can select this sum range. F4, we can press, comma, criteria range 1. So you can select this criteria range 1, F4, comma, respective criteria, FIDO, and comma, criteria range 2, you can select category and then press F4 one time and comma, respective criteria, food we can select. As of now, the formula is fine, but there is an issue in this formula. Now you have to spot that issue. What is that issue? It's super clear. The issue lies with the range A2 and C1. Since you are dragging this formula vertically, if you drag vertically, your C1 will become C2, C3, and so on. If you drag horizontally, your A2 will become B2, C2, D2, E2, and so on. So this is the problem we have to solve. In this case, column should be logged. Press F4 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And if you look at C1, the first row should be logged F4 2 times. So before you drag your formula, you have to ensure that everything looks fine. In A column, column is logged. In row, we have logged the row. And that's all, guys. The best way to drag the formula is that Control R, Control D. So this is how it works, guys. As you can see, 207, the total 207, it's matching. If you look at 404 and total is 404 is matching. And look at this, 567 is matching and then the total is 841, it's matching. So that's the formula. But there is a problem in this formula. What if I add some more pads? Do you think the table will auto resize itself? No, because we restricted the table size. L2 through L17 or H2 through H17, the answer will not come. If that is not going to help, then how do we make it dynamic? Let me tell you again. So let's keep this table to the different sheet and I'm putting my data here. And here you can see this is the answer. I'm just keeping this as a value here. Okay, let me paste the format as well. Paste special and you can take the format. The format will also be there, but that's the value. Okay, and I erase this. Now guys, how to make it dynamic? What if I convert this into table? How can you convert this into table? Simply press Control T. Okay, now the table is created. You have to ensure that as and when you add the data, suppose I'm adding 2 records. Okay, the table will also auto resize itself. Okay, the table is auto resizing itself. What if your table is not auto resizing itself? Then how will you solve this problem? You have to go to File, you have to go to Option, and then you have to go to Proofing. autocorrect options, you have to go to auto format as you type. The second option, include new rows and columns in table automatically as you work. It should be checked. Okay, if it is not checked, the table will not auto resize itself. You have to ensure that. This is important if you want your formula to be dynamic. Today, I'm going to reveal a secret about tables and dragging the formula. 99% people are not even aware about this logic. If you revisit this entire series, you will get to know new things which was never even discussed in other YouTube channels. Trust me, guys. Here you can see I'm using Sumifs again, and this is my sum range. All right. Now, comma, what is my criteria range one? You can select this criteria range one and comma respective criteria. Since you're dragging your formula vertically, there is no issue. You can drag your formula vertically. Everything looks fine. If you look at these three formula, you can use similar what did we do earlier. Again, sum range. Okay, no need to lock. And then criteria range one. This is the criteria range one. And comma, you can select respective criteria. As you know, we discussed about this earlier. Press F4 3 times. Column should be logged. Now you have to select the category and then respective criteria. This, you have to lock row F4 2 times. You have to press, the formula is ready. You know what people, you know what error people commit n number of times without even being aware about this secret. If you drag this formula manually this way, the answer will be wrong. Can you see that? The answer is not coming. The problem is that when you apply table formula this way, when you have the table as a criteria range or parameters, then you should not drag this way. This is wrong practice. How can you do it? Simply Control R, Control D. This is how it works. As you can see, the data, because I added down 3 record. Okay, if you go to this example, the range was until 17. Okay, so until 17, that was the range. If I delete this, just see that the answer is matching. Can you see this answer is matching? And you can see this answer is also matching. What if I hide this so that you can easily make out and see that this answer is matching? The total you can see 2020.8 and see that the total is 2020.8. It's matching absolutely. But guys, I got the record back. Okay, and here you can see this is the new answer. What if I add, you can see 250.6. I added 2 more records. 250.6 will go to higher, 293. So this is how you can make your formula as dynamic as possible. So this is all about the Sumifs function. How do we solve this problem with different way? Let me talk about, let me copy this data and keep it in a different sheet. This is absolutely crazy. When you apply such formula, it does not look good. Because if you share your presentation to your team, to your managers, to your supervisor, this does not look good. It is not a readable format. This is not a good practice. As long as you have the right answer, people are there around you who understand Excel formula easily, it is good. But you have to make it as readable as possible so that if somebody looks at your formula, they can easily make out the logic you built is correct. How do we solve this problem? Let me tell you, you know, this formula, you can see the range. Let me erase it. Okay. First, you convert that into a name range. So you have to, what you have to do, you have to select this data and go to formula and name manager. So name manager, you can see nothing is there. You can select create from selection. Top row, your headers are located on the top row, click it. You know what you have to do here? It's very smart trick I'm going to share with you guys. You know, what is that smart trick I'm going to share with you? Since you created a name range, here you can see. Now it is easy for me to apply the logic. Some ifs, and you can see amount I'm typing, comma, I'm typing dog, comma, A2. How fast I'm doing this. And simply you can drag a formula. If you look at this, some ifs, amount, comma, dog, comma, A2, comma, category, and comma C1. Again, you have to ensure that column should be locked and this row should be locked. Okay, row should be locked, column should be locked. And simply Control R, Control T. It is working? Yes, as you can see, it's working. You know, this is really beautiful and readable. Can you see that? It is readable and hygienically, the formula is easily comprehensible. Like anybody can easily make out what your formula is doing. And if you look at this previous example, this is really messy, but okay, because a lot of people prefer doing that way, but don't expect others to be as good as you in Excel. So this is the smart trick which you can use it in your day-to-day Excel drudgery. I hope you found this useful. And guys, there are a couple of more examples I'm going to share with you. Today we did with multiple ways. Let me show you this example with different ways. Like this is all about sum, if, and Sumproduct. I'm going to use a formula called filter. Let me do it with different ways. There is a formula called filter which can solve this problem. So here I can keep this, just for reference, I can keep this example here. All right, values. Let me format. Okay. Now see, this is the table you have. Let me show you how we can use different formula, guys. So it's so simple. Now, how do we solve this problem? Let me show you that. So I'm just showing you here. We are using a filter function. So filter, what you need, guys, I need this amount. All right, you can press F4, comma. From this doc, the range, I want to find out Boolean value, this equivalent to Fido. Here you can see that it is getting me all the values for Fido. Once you have this value, simply you can just copy this formula and paste over there, and I can erase it. Once you do that, you can simply use sum function. Once you are using sum function, you see that the value is summed up. Here you see this value and simply drag this. Now the problem lies with this calculation error. Actually, there is no value for Thomas, no value for Vava. How you can ensure that? If you look at filter function, the last argument, if the value is null, then it throws by default calculation error. Otherwise, if there is no value, then you can mention zero value. And once you do that, simply Control D. Your answer is coming correct. Now the question is, how do we solve this problem for multiple criteria? It's so simple. As I told you, we create this logic. Okay, this formula we created basically with one criteria. Let me tell you again, equal to filter. So before you apply filter, just calculate the Boolean algebra value. Okay, everybody, this is the range. This equal to Fido. This is one criteria that is going to return Boolean value true and false. That should be multiplied by this value. Now you can press F4, that equal to this. As I told you, if you select C1 or dragging vertically, horizontally, make sure row should be locked. F4 two times. If you select A2, the column should also be locked. F4 three times. Now this entire thing is getting me true false value. As you can see, for Fido and food, only one time we spent. If you look at this data, Fido and food, only one time we spent. Fido food. Now you see down, Fido accessories. So that's how the answer is coming. That should be multiplied by the amount column or the value column. You can press F4 and see that once I hit enter, I'm getting 17.8. So simply this is the formula. Control C, you can just put over there and see that answer is coming. But that is going to be lengthy because you have to use Sumproduct function. Sumproduct function is very much useful when you have the arrays and see that your answer is coming. So simply Control R, Control D, this is the answer I'm getting. The total of this value, 841.40. If you look at this, 567, and look at this, the value is 404, and this value is 207. So this is also working, guys. Now we have a lot of things to discuss. The first example we covered, as you have learned today how to make it dynamic. Let's switch back to the next example. Look at this example. This is crazy example, okay? This is crazy example. Let me show you how does it work. And let me take it to my Office 365, all right? And Control V. You know, the best part on this formula is that you will learn how to apply the logic, okay? How to find out basis 3 combination, the value. So it's very simple. You can use, guys, X lookup. X lookup. You are searching this value and this value. This is the combination which you are locating over there. You can concatenate the column data, all right, and press F4. Now you have to find out return array. So again, you can apply X lookup. You are searching Texas. Where are you locating a Texas? Over there. What you want in return? This entire array. So whichever is related to that combination. Now, guys, this value I'm getting. So quad SR2 Texas. So quad SR2, this is the row. Let me color that. This is the row and Texas. So this is the value I'm getting. What if I mention here 1 and see that quad SR1, I'm getting this value. This value I'm getting, correct? Now you can change like, Texas, you can mention Florida. So guys, these are the state in US, Florida. And see that I'm getting this value, quad SR1 Florida, quad SR1 Florida, S1. This value I'm getting now. Clear, everybody? This value I'm getting. So that's how this formula works, guys. Let me talk about next example. So now the challenge is that this X lookup is fine. If you don't have X lookup, then which formula comes to rescue? It's so simple, guys. I solved this problem with index match also. Let me show you how do we solve this problem. Okay. So guys, how do we solve this problem with index match? So here you can create a complete array. You can concatenate this value with this array, and row or column you can mention blank. So this is actually the array we are getting. Just Control X. Now you can use match function. Match function means you can concatenate this and that you are locating over there and comma 0. That will tell you the row, the first row. Okay, you can keep this formula, Control C, and then remove it. Just park your formula here. Now, how can you do it? Use index function. Index function, you want to return this value, press F4, comma. Row you have to find out, Control V. That row we already created. And then make sure in the formula, you lock the range. It's good practice and it is fine. And now, column number. You can use match function again. You want to find out Florida. Where are you locating Florida? Over there. F4, comma 0. And see that your answer is coming. So see this answer is same. If you mention here Alaska and see that both are matching. So let me show you how formula looks like. So here, formula to text. This is the formula which return a formula or another formula text. You can see that these two formula we applied to achieve this two-way lookup. This is simply two-way lookup, guys. Let's move on to the next task, guys. If you look at this example where we have to find out total, guys. Earlier, we located lookup value. Now we have to find out total, guys. How do we reach total, everybody? Now this is what we have to solve. Hope everybody can understand how important this formula is all about. Here you can use, guys, the formula called Sumifs. Inside Sumifs, use X lookup. X lookup, you are searching this combination. This combination, where are you searching, guys? Over there. But actually, that's not right approach because you are searching some range. Some range. Let's find out Alaska over there. F4 you can press, comma. What you want in return, this value. You can press F4, guys. This is my sum range ready. Now, guys, criteria range 1. So this is my criteria range 1. Press F4 and respective criteria this. Criteria range 2, you can select this, F4, comma, and select this. And see, we got the answer. Very simple, right? This is the answer we are getting, and simply drag this formula and see that we are getting the answer. This is one way. Now, what is another way? You can use simply this logic, whether this equal to this or not. Once you do that, it will get you true false value. Okay, this true false value, you can wrap it in one bracket. That should be multiplied by this entire range. F4 you can press, and once you do that, you can simply put another Boolean algebra. Now select this entire thing, F4, that should be equivalent to this. Now this is another multiplied by this range, F4 equal to this guy. And see that once you do it, I'm getting the total 4889. Once you have this formula, just Control C and come here and use some product, and simply answer is coming. Let me erase it, and simply you can drag this. The formula looks equivalent to this version. It's working. The total 23549 and the total 23549. How do we solve this problem with index match? That is also good thing. Sumifs. Let's create index function and calculate the respective sum range. Here, what you want, row number, you can skip row, and then you can find the match function. What are you locating? Alaska. Alaska, you are searching here, F4, 0, and see that I'm getting my range. If you remove this Sumifs, here you see that this is my dynamic sum range for Alaska. Okay, and that formula, now I tell you something. If you have used this formula, Control C, you can paste here and simply copy this formula. That is the sum range. Instead of X lookup, you can replace this. And your answer is coming, guys. This is Sumifs and index match. This is also working. You can erase this. So this formula we did with Sumifs XLOOKUP, Sumproduct, and simply Sumifs or index match. So guys, one more example we can share with all of you. The last example, look at this data. Okay, you have to find out product-wise or year or month-wise total value. How can you find out? You can use Sumifs function. This requires a range. You can select this entire range, comma, respective criteria you have to select, or criteria range. This is the criteria range, F4, comma, respective criteria, press F4 2 times. Row should be logged. Row should be logged. Now you can select the date, F4, comma. Now you can mention greater than equal to ampersand, 1 ampersand, this June, ampersand, this. Now you have to select this and F4 3 times. Column should be locked. I did Control C. Again, you can select the date range, F4, comma. This time you have to create in between criteria, and we have the function called EO month. EO month. This is the date you have, and comma 0. That will get you the month and date. Okay. And this is the formula we are using, and see that no value we are getting. This is right. The formula is correct because $2 second row is locked or column is locked. That's wonderful. Control R, Control D. This is the formula. As you can see, June 2013, fonts no sale. Let's find out. We are selecting fonts. Okay. And June 2013. So we have this value. There is no, June. There is no data for June. Can you see? That's why the value is not coming. The formula is correct. How do we solve this problem with Sumproduct? It's so simple. Now you can use a text function. Select this entire range. So I tell you something. How can you solve this problem? Let me take this example. With this Office 365, there you can see the value will spilled. Otherwise, you can do that here also. Text. You can select this entire range. F4, comma, triple M, y, that will get you the Boolean algebra. That equal to this guy and this guy. Now you have to lock column F4 3 times and hit enter. This is getting you Boolean algebra, the true false value. That should be multiplied by this logic, F4 equal to this font F4 two times. Now that again should be multiplied by the sales F4 and see that our answer will come. So this entire thing you can wrap in one bracket and you can use some product and see that my answer is coming. Control R, Control T. But this answer is not right. What mistake I have done, guys? Because over there, June, July, if I put the same parameter down and 2013, the same parameter, here you can see my answer is matching on the top. The total is 7047 and here also 7047. How to find out countifs? It's very simple. Just copy the above formula and you can paste here. Instead of sum ifs, you can mention countifs. And then you can remove the sum range because countifs does not have the sum range. And see that my answer is coming. Control R, Control D. These are the transaction we are getting because now you can simply copy this and down. You can match this. June 2010, there is 0 transaction. If you see car transaction for this, there are 3 transactions we have. June 2011 car transaction. So let me select cars. So June 2011. Here you can see June 2011. 11, this. June, 3 transaction. Can you see that? 3 transaction are there only. So our answer is coming correct. So guys, this is all about the Sumif and Sumproduct extensively we covered in our session. I hope you guys found this useful, and this is important for you to revisit this entire recordings, which will get you fair idea about how do we use this formula. I hope you found this useful. For more such recordings and videos, share, subscribe, and love my channel.